At a time when Palestinian arts, culture, and history are being erased, institutions like the Palestinian Museum, based in Birzeit, are becoming a vital part of celebrating our identity and preserving our stories. In the continuation of our conversation with Amer Shomali, the director of the Palestinian Museum, we delve into the museum's exhibits, the challenges they have faced since October 7th, and the importance of arts and culture in conserving Palestinian heritage. This episode was recorded on the 12th of January, 2025. I'm your host, Hafaf Shawabibi, and you're listening to Tarwida. Hi, Hamid. Welcome back.
Hi.
In our previous conversation, you were generous enough to tell us the nitty-gritty details of your artistic adventures. But now let's talk about the Palestinian Museum. So the Palestinian Museum, which is in Birzeit and not to be confused with the Palestine Museum in the US, is, we can say, the number one artistic organization in Palestine. Now, the museum itself is very impressive, not just the building and its gardens, but also the breadth and depth of its activities. Tell us a brief history of the museum and its original goals.
So basically, the Palestinian Museum was open to the public in 2016 in Birzeit near Ramallah. Over 45 dunums of land. We have beautiful garden, beautiful building. But this is, I'll say, the new museum, because our national museum is in Jerusalem. And when the Israelis occupied the eastern part of Jerusalem, they took over our national museum, including the collection inside it. And it became part of the Israeli networks. Now it's called the Rockefeller Museum, but it was originally the Palestine Archaeological Museum. The exhibition on display in the museum up till today is the same exhibition that was there in 1967, curated by a Palestinian curator. So it's still there. They just carved a new name on it. They added the caption in Hebrew, and that was their intervention. They took one piece to their museum, to the Israel Museum, and everything else is still there. So we always, as Palestinians, had this question, whether should we open a new museum? Would that be understood that we gave up on getting our museum back or not? Eventually, we opened this museum as a temporary museum till we get our museum back. So this is not a replacement for the National Museum. We need more than one museum to tell the stories we lived through as Palestinians. This museum, we see it as the mothership. It's stationed in Palestine, but we have different satellite exhibitions and museums around the world. Because what makes the Palestinian Museum unique and different than any other museum around the world, that 80% of our national collection was looted by the Israelis in the past 77 years. And 80% of our audience are Palestinians in the diaspora and refugee camps who can't come to the Palestinian Museum. So our dilemma in the Palestinian Museum is how to tell the story of Palestine without the use of the 80% of objects looted to our audience, where 80% of them can't come to the museum. So it's a different and a very unique case where we have to deal with it away from the traditions of Western museums. And I think we are developing new ways of working in Palestine, outside of Palestine, mobilizing the communities of Palestinians around the world to be part of this museum. So, for example, now we are doing an exhibition in collaboration with the Jameel Art Foundation in Jeddah. Some of the dresses came from Palestinians who are already in Saudi Arabia, who moved there back in the 50s and 60s, and they have their own dresses. So we're going to have their dresses in the exhibition. And they will have the ownership of the exhibition, ownership over the narrative. So that's a new model of working. It's not the rigid museums, the heavy one. We see that the 80% of Palestinians in the diaspora could be our strength point rather than the weakness point. So we are trying to flip the table rather
I
than
love that.
saying, okay, we don't have audience, we don't have objects, we are just a
Yeah,
garden.
yeah. Mm-mm. So you took over as a director of the museum in October of 2023.
Yes. Yeah.
Literally like October 8th or something.
Yeah, I entered my office October
It
8th.
was, yeah.
October 8th. I entered my office trying to see what to do. Before coming to the museum, I was teaching at the Faculty of Art in Birzeit University. I had no administrative experience at all. So
Mm,
I had the question of what is the role of how to manage a museum, what is the role of museum in a
mm,
colonial context, like
mhm,
those kind of theoretical academic questions. But coming on October the 8th, I had more pressing questions like what is the role of museum and arts and
mm,
culture in general during a genocide? Are we going to
mm.
shut our doors down and go home waiting for the war to end? Or are we going to get involved and try to deal with the museum as an active member in the arts and cultural scene on the front line? Can
Yeah,
you push
yeah,
the
yeah,
museum, which is something very rigid and static and focusing on aesthetics, to be something dynamic, progressive? Those became
yeah.
our questions.
Mm-mm. It's interesting because you don't see typically a creative person, an artist, become head of such an
Mm,
organization. As a creative, how did you find it to be in a managerial role? You said you had
mm,
some theoretical knowledge,
mm.
but فعليا, like in action, how was it for you?
I'll say I was surprised that I got the job. But I think the board took a leap of faith in trying an artist and a visual storyteller to be involved in the museum.
Mm,
Honestly, it was a very interesting experience for me. I learned a lot during this year, a little bit about management and Excel sheets and documents and files, and
the fun stuff.
which is the fun stuff. But working with a team, having the know-how and the capacity to operate on a global level was very interesting. Now we are in a position
Mm,
where we can send emails to top-level museums, top-level cultural centers around the world asking for collaboration. We are making amazing stuff around the world,
mm, mm.
which is something that can't be done sometimes as individuals. You need
Yeah.
this umbrella, this legitimacy, this facilities and the infrastructure.
Mm,
And I never been in this position where I don't have
mm,
to initiate as individual and then mobilize some people around me. Now we are a big
yeah. Yeah.
institution and we are aiming big. Uh,
Mm,
yeah,
mm,
now me and the
mm,
team we are doing things that I couldn't do as individual.
mm, mm.
And I love this. I love that we
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
being part of what's happening on the daily basis, which might eventually change the destiny of Palestine. And we are not observers, we are involved, whether with a little bit of tiny involvement here or there, but I feel that we are involved in shaping the future of
Yeah.
Palestine.
Yeah. What challenges do you face?
Away from the looted collection and the
Yeah.
accessibility of the audience, um, the financing of the museum is a major challenge.
Yeah.
Major challenge because the museum is a non-governmental organization. It was established by
Mm.
Ta'awun Foundation,
Mhm.
and they were the founders of the museum. They supported it in the past 7-8 years. For them, this is a strategic
Mm.
project on the cultural sector. But
Mm, mm.
a big chunk of our budget comes from rich and wealthy Palestinians around the world
Mm.
and international donors. After
Yeah.
October the 7th, most of the rich Palestinians, they are focusing on Gaza and supporting our people in Gaza on the ground. So for them, during this time, arts and culture will have to wait till
Mm.
till
Mm.
we secure our brothers and sisters in Gaza with a safe house, food, etc.
Yeah.
And the international audience, they are afraid of dealing with the Palestinians because
Mm.
of the polarized world we are living in. Many of them, they just stopped responding to our emails at all.
Oh,
And the
wow.
others,
Yeah.
they issued statement against Palestinians and the resistance in Gaza. So also we stopped working with them. We stopped
Mm. Mm.
responding to their emails. But
Mhm.
a third sector appeared, which is people coming to the museum saying, we want to give you $1 million every year to support the museum. But in return, we want you to take down the collection of posters with weapons from your archives. We want you to stop using the term shaheed in your archives.
Martyr.
Martyr.
Okay.
We want you to do this and that. They want to be involved in the narrative and what we tell the younger generation in Palestine, and they will support you financially. And this is, I think, the most dangerous thing happening at the moment, that most challenging thing, that financial resources to support the arts and cultural scene, not only the museum, are very limited, and many people are trying to use that to compromise and blackmail the cultural scene on what to tell the younger generation through the arts and cultural sector. And this is a very tricky, sensitive time, because back in November, just a month after the war, when we thought that it's going to end in a month or two, the Israeli Minister of Strategic Affairs had a meeting, and they issued a statement saying that this is our recommendation for our policy after the war, the day after the war. And it was one line saying there must be a radical change in the education curricula and the cultural sector. Otherwise, Israel will have to face another hostile generation of Palestinians in the future. And that's their focus now, to change the educational curricula, what we tell the students and our kids in the schools, trying to change the way we draw the maps, the names of our cities, especially in 1948 area, like Jaffa, to call it Yafo, and Akka, to call it whatsoever, and to call Al-Quds, Orushalayim, things like this. And they want also to control the arts and cultural sector, what to say and what not to say in our venues. And it's a big threat.
So with that threat, then the role of the museum in this age of genocide becomes even more important. How do you see its role now?
I think that the arts and culture sector in general, and the museum specifically, they have the responsibility, and they will have more responsibilities in the future to safeguard our collective memory and to showcase our collective identity and our stories and our narratives to the younger generation, especially if the Israelis manage to force our educational system to be changed and adapt to their narrative. The arts and cultural sector will become the only venue where you can hear stories about Palestine from our perspective. And that's crucial. That's crucial because usually they say it takes around 15 years to change the collective identity and the collective awareness. In Arabic, we call it Sahr al-Wa'i. It takes 15 years. If they manage to do that for the next 15 years and we couldn't fight back, Palestine will be gone. Because what does it mean to have Palestine without the Palestinians?
Let's talk about 3 of the museum's projects that have been taking place during your tenure. The first one is This Is Not an Exhibition, which is artworks of Gazan artists, some of whom have lost their lives. Tell us about this exhibition. What makes it not your typical exhibition?
So, as I told you, I came on board on October the 8th. The first thing we did was deassembling the exhibition we have in the museum, distributing the collection, put it in safe places, so if we got raided, we don't get looted. And we were in shock, of what's happening in Gaza. End of October, the Israelis bombed Al-Qarara Museum, Rafah Museum, Iltiqa Art Gallery, Shabik Art Gallery, the Awqaf Archives, the municipality archives, and we felt horrified because those are our partners in Gaza and our friends, but also it was a clear and deliberate attack on the arts and cultural sector, trying to not erase Palestinians from the moment itself, but also erasing Palestinians from the history. So in the future, we will not be able to come back and rebuild and claim Gaza. So we called our friends in Gaza and Iltiqa and Shabik Art Gallery, and we dedicated the main exhibition hall for them, saying you can take it, make an exhibition for the Gazan artist. But making an exhibition for the Gazan artist was something theoretical. How are you going to ship anything out of Gaza? However, the artist in Gaza started to send us sketches on how to design the space, how to hang the artworks, what to do in the middle, where to put the screens. And we started to get messages from the artist in Gaza saying, "Hi, my name is Sharif Sarhan. I have an artwork with George Al-A'ma in Bethlehem. Go and pick it up. Hi, my name is Ruqayya Lulu. I have an artwork with An-Najah University in Nablus. Go and get it. Hi, my name is... and I have an artwork in Hebron, in Haifa, in Jaffa, in Jerusalem, in Ramallah." And we started to go door to door with our car in the museum to pick up those artworks from all 60 different entities, individuals, universities, art galleries. And we collected almost 220 artworks to be exhibited in the museum for almost 100 artists. When we opened, we had only one artist who was killed by the Israelis. He was a Qut back then. Today, 5 of our colleagues who are exhibited in the exhibition were killed in the past year and 3 months. So 5. Meanwhile, there is 30 artists and art educators who were killed in the past year and a half almost in Gaza. When we opened the exhibition, mid-February, early February, many people came to the opening holding paintings by Gazan artists, saying that we heard about this exhibition and we want to add this painting. So we started to push the paintings around, freeing space for a new artwork to be added on the spot. And that became a tradition. People will come, hang a new artwork by a Gazan artist they have in their house in the museum, which had nothing to do with the museum traditions of, like, in the museum, don't touch, you have valuable stuff, you are not good enough to have something similar to that in your house. Here we reversed the whole thing. Like, you as Palestinians, you own the space. As an act of solidarity, bring the artworks, hang it in the museum, take photo of that, tag the artist, tell them that we didn't forget you, you are in our mind and hearts and prayers, and you are exhibited on the wall. Some of the artists exhibited, they lost all of the artworks because it was in Gaza, stored in Gaza in their studios. Some, they were killed in their studios, so their artworks themselves and their kids all were wiped from the face of earth, and only few paintings survived somewhere there in the West Bank. And that put a lot of pressure on the owners of those paintings and the museum for exhibiting the only survived traces of their existence as artists from Gaza. So when we started to think of what to call the exhibition, one of the feedback we got that this is not an exhibition, because usually exhibitions, they have a final list of participants, and we don't have that. And sometimes people buy an artwork to support the artist and they take it out of the exhibition. So the exhibition is kind of an alive event. We don't have an end date for the exhibition because it's the exhibition is in solidarity with Gaza, so it's going to be on till the genocide stops. It's a protest against the genocide rather than an exhibition to enjoy art.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. So once again, we see how there's a sense of openness and involvement of communities and people, and it's dynamic and it's changing. That's really beautiful. Another project that is happening is the exhibition Gaza Remains the Story, which is a traveling exhibition in a sense. Can you describe it to us so people can understand?
Yeah, this exhibition is also a breakthrough in the way we think as a museum. Gaza Remains the Story is a folder we have online where people show their interest of hosting an exhibition and telling the story of Gaza. So they download that folder, and in that folder they have a PDF file where they print on 1.70 m or a roll, and they have to cut it according to our marks, and they have a blueprint on the design of the exhibition. In that PDF we have infographics, we have paintings, we have photos from the archives, we have QR codes leading to external videos and podcasts and different educational material about Palestine and Gaza. We have maps, and you have the design, the layout design of the exhibition. So you print it, you cut it, you put it on the wall, and you have the exhibition. And then there is another folder also with all the promotional material on all the templates for the poster, the social media advertising the exhibition, everything you need to make that exhibition. Even if you don't know and never made an exhibition before, you can just install your exhibition. And that's a step further beyond taking on loan from your community around the world and putting everything in an exhibition. In this case, we don't have anything original. It's a folder you download, you have the full ownership on how to do the exhibition, what to put in it, what not to put in it, and we are just the resource. And we are the place where we invest our time and resources to create something that Palestinians around the world can use. In the first 2 months, we had the exhibition almost 40 places around the world. From Japan to San Francisco, everywhere around the world, we had a popping up exhibition, sometimes in a big, proper, usual suspect venues like museums, but other places in a classroom or a bus station or in the street. So we are taking over the whole world. So the Palestinian Museum, which is a small place people can't reach in Palestine, became something that can occupy the whole world using the 80% of our Palestinian community in the diaspora. And that exhibition was originally initiated by a friend of the museum. His name is Maher Qaddoura, a very visionary man who kept pushing us to make this exhibition. But I'm proud that this, as a proof of concept, is a new way to work and talk about Palestine.
So in yours, the implementation of this idea has really been successful.
Yeah, and next time it's going to be better. The next time it's going to be better. But at least as proof of concept that people are not only willing, they want to be involved in telling the story of Palestine. They need the resources. If you have the time to provide them with resources and make their life easier, they are willing to take it from there and continue your work. You don't have to worry about where is the hall, where is the venue, how much, where to print. They are going to take care of that. Take your role as a museum, prepare the resources, get them proper images, proper text, edited, translated, checked, and they can take it up from there. You do the exhibition once, but they take it over to hundreds of places around the world. So you lose control. It goes viral.
So for our listeners, if you're at a university, if you're at a museum, a school, a cultural center, you can apply or request to host this incredible exhibition. Ahmed, is there anything you can add for anyone who wants to do this?
It's available in English and in Arabic soon, but also it was translated by our friends around the world, I think to Spanish, to Flemish, to French. So it's also available in different languages, different formats. Even if you have small space, big space, it can adapt to any kind of space. And the budget, usually it's something very small. I think you can do the exhibition with $100, $200. You can pull up this exhibition.
Okay. And you mentioned that the next one, do you mean another theme, like a travel exhibition of another theme?
Yeah. Now we are planning to do maybe 5 exhibitions next year. One of them is called Palestine 101. We noticed during the past year that we have a lot of false informations about Palestine and the history of Palestine. How did we end up here as Palestinians? So we are planning to have an exhibition called Palestine 101, aka Palestine for Dummies. So we're going to pick figures from different eras in Palestine to tell the story of Palestine through their personal stories. I think this exhibition will have a lot of interest around the world. We're going to have a printed exhibition about embroidery, another exhibition about posters, an exhibition in collaboration with Visualizing Palestine of infographics focusing on Gaza. I think the moment we establish this and make kind of a guideline for it, I think even making the exhibition would become something people can do and share it on the platform.
That's very, very interesting. And so for our listeners, if you're interested in hosting Gaza Remains the Story, we will provide you a link to the website where you can check it out. Moving on now to another incredible resource and really a national treasure,
Mm.
which is the Palestinian Museum Digital
Mm.
Archives. Tell us about it.
Yeah. In the museum, we see ourselves doing two main projects: the exhibitions inside, outside Palestine, and the activities around those, and the archives. Our archives were looted back in 1948. The Israelis are storing now around 6 million documents, videos, paintings, photos in the Haganah archives, in the army archives, in the National Library, inaccessible for Palestinians. So we don't have the chance to read about our history. Another big chunk of our archives are part of the Ottoman archives in Istanbul. But basically, after 1948 and the loot of the archives, Palestinians started to collect oral history, converting that into documents. 1967, the Israelis looted that again. So Palestinians started to collect again and converting that into documents. When the Israelis invaded Beirut 1982, they looted that again. So it was a continuous battle between the Israelis looting our archives and us as Palestinians trying to collect our oral history and our memories into archives. And it was a continuous battle trying to push us into becoming a people with amnesia, not knowing where did we come from, where are we going, and who we are. So in the Palestinian Museum, we had this initiative of creating the digital archives. We don't own the archive, the physical documents. We have a scan of it, and we give back the owners their documents, but we have a scan of the document stored in the museum on a cloud online, in a safe in Switzerland, in different places around the world. So no matter what, even if they bomb the museum, a copy of that archives will survive. It will survive. This time, our archives are not going to be looted. It's going to overlive the state of Israel. It's going to be there forever.
That's very empowering.
Now we have in our archives around 400,000 documents compared to what they have in our archives from us, which is almost 6 million documents. So we have still less than 10% of the archives that was looted. But it's a long journey. And in the archive field, there's different people also working in the archive. There's خزائن, there's المركز العربي للأبحاث. So we are trying to collaborate between us all, trying to safeguard the Palestinian memory, which is eventually will become very essential for researchers, for education, for everything. And what's interesting about this archive, that it's an archive built bottom up. It's not the official archive of the state of Palestine or the government of Palestine during the Dutch mandate. It's my archive, your archive, my grandfather's archive, our neighbor's archive. And those archives all offered online, making the connection between those tiny archives. You can create the bigger story of Palestine through the small stories. So the bigger picture will be assembled from the mosaic of the small stories rather than having the state narrative. It's the stories of the people themselves.
I've heard it's just this past year, it's had over 2 million hits.
I think even a little bit more, which is huge. During the genocide, all of our resources had more and more interest from all over the world, especially from United States, and after that from Israel. I think Israelis are interested to see who are they fighting. Like eventually they woke up and they feel that those people who we ignored for a long time, they are still there, and some they want to know more. Americans, Israelis, then we have our Palestinian audience, then other countries like Germany, France, Italy, Latin America, blah, 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 and then the Arab countries at the bottom. But there is a lot of interest around the world to know more about Palestine. And this is why I think projects like the printed exhibitions are essential, and it's an answer for any actual need around the world now in the mobilization and advocacy.
Yeah. What are some of the highlights for you of the digital archive? I noticed there's many different collections. Some are family collections, some are groups.
The digital archive is very wide and diverse. So you're going to have things that, for me, it's interesting, might means nothing for others. But for me, it's interesting. One of the things we archived are the factory of, here we call the traditional balat, but it's the colonial balat, the small tiles with illustration on it. And it's an industry started here in the region, I think back in the early 20th century. And we archived one of the largest surviving factories in Nablus called Asalan, where we documented all the machines, all the templates, around 400 different designs, different templates, all the tiles they produced. And we are connecting those tiles with photos from our archives where we see tiles in the background. So you see, for example, the Ghassan Kanafani house, and you see that the tile is appearing in the photo behind him. So something like that. So trying to reimagine the Palestine that we lost, to recharge the coming generation, to believe again that it's possible to liberate it. We need that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what actually qualifies to be an archive? Until what year or what type of, document or photo?
I think everything up till now, even our podcast now, should be archived somewhere. And we learned that from Gaza. Like they erased everything. They erased everything. They erased things that 1,000 years old and 2,000 years old, like the mosaic and the church, and they killed artists who are 18 years old. So they want to wipe us totally from the earth. And I think saving a copy somewhere around the world is going to be useful. Here we remember a Palestinian artist, his name Mustafa al-Hallaj. Mustafa al-Hallaj studied sculpting in Egypt, and he started to practice as an artist. But then he said, we Palestinians don't have the luxury to make sculptures. Making a sculpture means that you are staying there. And us as refugees, we are being pushed from one country to another, moving from one refugee camp to another, being hunted down in all of the world. I'm not doing sculptures. In the opposite, I'm doing prints. So he started to carve on the wood, make ink and pressing it on paper, creating 10 or 20 editions of each artwork. So he used to say that at least one of those copies will survive to end up in Palestine. So instead of having one artwork, you have 10. And I think this is how we should think honestly after what we have seen in Gaza. We can't take our existence for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. So if people, let's say our listeners, they have photos or family documents or even artifacts, can they send them to the museum to be included?
Yeah, they can contact us on our emails. We'll do the initial evaluation, see logistically who can do the digitization in their country. If we can take it to the museum, then send it back to them, and we can discuss it. But we are always interested in family albums, interesting documents telling crucial parts of history. If you have someone in your family who you know that he had an interesting story involved in something related to arts and culture, Palestinian struggle, a piece of history, you can recommend that collection for us to document it.
Okay, so again, we'll be including the links to the Palestinian Museum digital archives. Please check them out because they really are a national treasure. So just to wrap up about the museum, Amer, what are your hopes for the future of the museum? I mean, clearly, in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of movement and evolvement, but what do you see in the coming years?
The first thing we wish for is the war to end. After the end of the war, we're going to start planning for a permanent exhibition in the museum here in Birzeit. And then we're going to start to expand internationally around the world and in Gaza and other cities in the West Bank. So I see, hopefully, in 10 years, we're going to have the Palestinian Museum in Birzeit, a branch in Gaza, another one in Nablus, another one in Bethlehem, another one in Amman in collaboration with someone who already worked in Amman, and another branch in Beirut with someone who already worked in Beirut, another one in Dubai, another one in Paris, another one in the States. So we want to create those spaces for Palestinians around the world, not only to safeguard our narratives and our stories, but also to celebrate our beautiful heritage and identity.
Beautiful. Very nice. I want to ask you, before we wrap up, about your upcoming documentary, which also has to do with archives, looting of artifacts, let's say.
Yeah, I started working on that on 2015, so almost 10 years ago. And it's a documentary about two Palestinian archaeologists planning to steal back the looted collection on display in the Israeli Museum. So it's a heist movie, documentary about a heist that took place in the Israeli Museum. And it's a very interesting film. It's going to be an inspiring one, hopefully. But it's a long way. It's a long way. It's not an easy topic. Hopefully it's going to happen.
Well, good luck with it. I'm sure if the Wanted 18 is any indication, it's going to be very, very interesting and engaging for people. So, Amer, I really want to thank you so much for your time and all the work that you're doing. It's so important to have people like you who are creative, but also understand the importance of strategy and vision in preserving Palestinian culture and heritage. Clearly, you have your role in the museum. You've liberated, you've broken the walls of what the rigidity of a traditional museum, and also your support for Gaza. So everything that you're doing is so important. Thank you so much for taking us on this trip. I know that people will be checking out both your work and the museum as well.
Thank you, dear. Thanks for having me, and see you soon. Hopefully in Palestine.
Yeah. Thank you, Amer.
Bye.
Thank you.
Salamat.
Bye.
Ciao.
Salam. If you missed our last episode, check it out to learn more about Amer's personal journey and how he weaves humor, animation, history, and art into his multidisciplinary work. Thank you for listening to Tarwida, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the best of Palestinian arts and culture. For more information, please follow us on social media and don't forget to subscribe. Salam.